I want everybody to give themselves a round of applause, man. We are officially in week 10 of BYL. 10 successful weeks. We started this league. When did we start this? 2 weeks ago,
Um,
maybe, give or take.
2.5 weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago, we've been smooth sailing so far. I think we've only lost one user,
Yeah,
Temple, when we started. Or I'm talking about the people who are here from week 1 on. I think we only lost one user, and that's Temple.
yeah, Temple.
Temple, and we just lost him last week. So, hold on.
Very few rule breaks too.
Very
Just to
few,
note
a
you.
few rule breaks. Those of you guys who still owe fines, please go ahead and do that. Tulane coach Trey Danforth says, ready to see where I move to. We are excited to reveal the rankings.
Yes.
Today, we're going to be going over the college football playoff bracket, look at all the CPU teams that are thriving. We're going to look at the standings of all the conferences. As far as user conferences, we're not going to look at the ACC and Big Ten and stuff like that, just the user conferences. See where everybody stands, no pun intended. And then we also want to, bro has a, of course, when you're a 10-0 ball club, you have to represent your ball club. I got a shirt too. It just I used it. I wore it yesterday, so it's in the wash right now. I was gonna wear my shirt because I'm mismatching right now, but green for victory, blue for Boise State, baby. Um, after a big win against my counterpart in San Diego State, Sterling is always a good matchup. But that was just the beginning. We play him again in the Mountain West Championship here pretty soon. Where's the Texas State hoodie at, Commish?
No,
Well,
no, man. We're rocking with the
the
Tide
the
today.
thing about Texas State is he's actually going to leave after this year. So Grundy, what's going on, BCS Grundy? He just bought. Actually, did not just buy this. I bought this. Um,
Before we
probably
even made the league.
yeah. I bought this before I knew I was going to pick him because I had a feeling I was going to get him. Tulane moving up. Nah, you're moving backwards, my brother. Doug Fan and Dane say gross. Okay, let's get right into it. Thank the 8 of you guys for being here. It's always super fun. But just to kind of kick things off here again, and also I just want to give a round of applause for all the users that have been playing their games in a timely manner. Those of you guys have been
Yes.
following the rules. I feel like though thus far, we haven't had any issues with users.
At all.
As far as like arguing and stuff like that, we've been a very clean league so far. So thank you guys, and we really couldn't do it without you guys. So
Yeah.
thank you guys so much. But let's move on. We're gonna pull up the rankings. So before we get into the actual rankings, I want to go over. So it's put out there. I also got a hoodie and a hat for my team. You did. That's Cap. I bought mine well before you bought yours. If you want, we can go. We can go screenshot for screenshot, receipt for receipt. I got mine before you told me that. So nice try. And I haven't seen you in your gear. So until then, I want to hear it. But we're gonna go over the college football playoff bracket. We're gonna go over the standings, and then we're gonna go over the rankings. We did the rankings a little bit different this week. So hopefully you guys are excited to see that. But moving on. So this is the college football playoff bracket. Doesn't mean much, obviously, because a lot of us are not going to be on here because we're not, in the big conferences. I do have the 12 seed right now. I do have to play Sterling again in the conference championship game, so he can shake things up and let a USF get in. He plays USF next week, and also Central Michigan. I think he's
Tulane as
creeping
well.
up. Tulane is creeping up.
He's the
So it's
only
gonna
other ranked team.
so it's going to be kind of tough sledding as we end into the last, bulk or, the back half of the season. I think the most surprising thing to me on this is the fact that Kentucky's projected to win the SEC. That is very
Yeah.
wild. No Georgia on here. I don't know what Georgia's record is. You have Alabama at the 8 seed and then LSU. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 SEC teams. So it's going to be kind of fun to see how this shakes out. Hopefully I hold firm. Utah State is creeping up. He's trying to shake the conference up with a win over SDSU. He's been talking about that for the last week. But moving on, we have the American Conference standings. So as of right now, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about this one. I've been
Yeah,
talking
as
too
of
much.
right now, we have South Florida at number 1. He is 8-1, and he's 6-1 in conference. And set to play him right now is East Carolina. He's 8-2 and 4-2. And Tulane is creeping in there. He's 7-2 and 3-2 in conference. He has one less conference game than Bryce, but I do believe once he gets that other game played, he'll be second because he has a head over East Carolina. But those are the three users right now to keep a lookout for when it comes to the American Conference.
Yeah, I mean, if you obviously you have USF here who plays SDSU this week or next week, I think. I think he is a lock. We only play 7 conference games, so he's already locked himself into the conference championship. At this point, it's who is he going to play? ECU has to win one more game. If ECU wins one more game, he needs Tulane to lose.
Yeah.
So really, at this point, Tulane, I believe, controls his own destiny. Being 3-2 right now because he has the head-to-head over ECU. I don't know if he has a head-to-head over Memphis and North Texas though. So that's something to look forward to.
You said talking about Tulane?
Yeah, because I know he has the head-to-head over ECU, but I don't know how he has the head-to-head over North Texas, Memphis, or UTSA. Obviously, the teams all have to play each other, so someone has to lose.
He has the head-to-head over North Texas. He lost to UTSA in week 1. But he hasn't played Memphis yet. I think he hasn't played Temple yet either.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I think Tulane right now, like I said, controls his own destiny. The only way ECU gets in, he needs Tulane to lose to someone. But USF right now is standing tall in the American Conference. He's already punched his ticket there. Memphis is the only user I have left.
Yeah.
No, you have at least 2 users left.
Yeah, Memphis and Temple.
And Temple. Okay, yeah, because you have to play at least 7. So look forward to seeing how this conference shakes out. USF is definitely a player for that 12 seed. If he's able to, take care of business against Sterling and then win the conference championship, he'll be a 12-1 conference champion. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that unfolds. Moving on, we have the Conference USA. Toledo holding strong, 7-1, 4-0 in conference. He still has to play Akron. Akron's going to be a good game. Akron is on a bit of a downswing right now, 6-3. He had a fair sim loss against NC State last week. He didn't get his game done in time. Not sure what happened. Didn't play his game. So he did lose a fair sim to NC State, but still in a position to win the conference. At the end of the day, he just has to win his last game. And then those two have punched their ticket into a rematch, essentially. I'm not sure who won the Akron-Central Michigan game because if Toledo beats Akron and Central Michigan beat Akron, then it'll be Central Michigan. So
Central Michigan lost to Akron by like 4 points in week 1.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, we're looking at a Akron and Toledo matchup, and then a rematch in the conference championship, unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, I think Akron's last game is against Toledo.
Yeah, there's Justin here. He said he had a busy weekend. Well, at least lucky for you. I mean, you lost the CPU game, so it does suck, but you didn't lose a league game. As far as conference, you still control your own destiny. You just got to win this last conference game. I'm not sure who you play, but as long as you win the conference game,
you're still week this week, so he's good.
Yeah, you're still in a position to kind of take the throne of the Conference USA teams. Moving on, we have Mountain West. Obviously, talk of the game or talk of the league this week was the matchup between myself and other commissioner Sterling. This game didn't really matter. It mattered more for me as far as my playoff chances, but for him, it didn't really matter because we have to play again in the conference championship. So whether he dropped this game like he ended up dropping today, and he beats me in the next game we match up in, the next game is going to be far more important anyway. So he still controls his own destiny as far as conference championship goes. Obviously, that win for me was good because now if I win out and beat him again, I have a chance to compete for a national championship. So that's good. Fresno State started off 2-2 with the 2 losses to, Boise State and myself, or Boise State and Sterling. But he's been, chugging on since, won 4 straight. I think,
I think that's 3rd or 4th best current win streaks right now.
Yeah, so he's definitely been, doing his thing. UTEP has kind of been humming along, ho-hum, right around 500 all year. Hawaii started off strong. He's about 5-3, a little bit over 500. But I'd be remiss if I don't give Utah State credit. I'm going to give him his credit here.
I tried to give him credit the other day too.
5-3. How is UTEP above me? Because he's 3-3 in conference and you're 2-2 in conference. So you guys have the same conference record, percentage-wise, but he has more conference wins. So that's why he's above you. Yeah. But Utah State 5-3. He's 1-3 in conference, but he does play San Jose State this week, which should be a win. No disrespect to San Jose State, but you are 0-4 in conference. Utah State's on a 3-game win streak. You're on a 4-game losing streak. So barring something crazy, we might be looking at a 6-3 Utah State team, which I don't think anybody saw coming. So shout out to my dad here for his first league and kind of competing. UNLV still 0-8. Almost beat me.
His win is on his way though. I think he's going to get a win over San Jose.
I agree.
No disrespect, but I do think he'll win that game.
UNLV, you got to do something now. Come on, Xavier. You did a lot of talking in your preseason interview in that car ride down to Florida. I need you to do something now. But moving on, I'll let you take care of the Sun Belt, your conference.
Yeah, so with the Sun Belt, Arkansas State has one more game. He's sitting at 7-2 and 5-1 in conference. App State At 7-2, 4-1. He has the head-to-head over me. I'm sitting at 3-2. Um, right now, it's looking at like those two users going to play in the Sun Belt Championship game. I know App State has Coastal Carolina, and I want to say Georgia State left. I could be wrong, but I have Georgia State and South Alabama. I need App State to drop one of those games in order to try to get in that spot. But I feel like Arkansas State has locked his ticket in, and right now it's just a battle between App State and Texas State.
South Alabama stinks. So that's your guy, huh? You guys be going back
Yeah,
and forth. You and Fred Porter be
four and
going back and
five,
forth.
sitting at 3-3 in the conference right now.
Okay, so with all the conference standings, out of the way, the college ball playoff bracket out of the way, we are going to go over the power rankings. So, being transparent, the first power rankings we did, Brandon and I, we looked at all the teams. We went back and forth, and we decided a top or 1 to 32 based on agreeing and kind of compromising on who we thought should be where. What we did this time is I made my own 32. Brandon made his own 32, and Sterling, the San Diego State user, made his own 32. What I then did is compiled all 32 or all three of the list, and I averaged them out. So this list is going to be the average based on three different perspectives of three different commissioners. So this is how we made our list. So if you're at 20 and you feel like you should be at 19 or at 15, then maybe one of us had you at 15, but two people had you at 24. So it averaged out that way. So it's going to be fun. We don't have individual player stats or team stats this time around, just because we wanted to kind of focus more on the conference standings in the college football playoff bracket. But we did put a lot of effort in, trying to make it as balanced as possible and averaging everything out rather than, me wanting somebody at 10 and Brandon has to kind of budge in order to do that. He had his own opinions. I had my own opinions. So did Sterling. So just to get that started, we have UNLV at number 32. We're going to, Brandon, we'll go back and forth. So I'll do go first and you'll go next.
Okay.
As you guys can see, so he went back one spot. So he was number 31 the last time we did this. Also, I do want to say these rankings are only through week 8. So any games in week 9 or week 10, we did not factor in. So the records that you guys see are not going to be, accurate and updated as to right now. These are through week 8. It's hard to do it when we make a whole list and somebody goes and plays a game right now and we have to adjust it. So we just went through week 8's ranking. So UNLV at number 32, 0-6, 0-3 in conference. He moves back one spot.
At 31, we have Coastal Carolina 1-5 and 0-4 in conference. He also moved back one spot.
So, and I don't know off the top of my head where I personally had these people. So again, be mindful of these are averages. And I don't remember I know. So looking at the list, Brendan and I had 18 of the same people in the same exact spot. Me and Sterling had 14 of the people in the same exact spot. You and Sterling only had 9 of the people in the same exact spot. So you and Sterling definitely disagreed on a lot of teams. Me and you agreed on more than 50%, and me and Sterling agreed on almost 50%. So that just kind of gives an idea of where we're at. Number 30, we have Temple, 1-5, 0-3. This is no longer a user team. So the next power rankings, he will not be in there. But we made this like 2 days ago, and he was still in the league. So he did move up 2 spots. He's 1-5 and 0-3 in conference play.
At 29, we have San Jose State. He did not move up at all. He's 1-5 and he's 0-3 in conference.
Bro, how did Coastal Carolina beat Virginia Tech, but I lost to them? Hey, Styles makes fights, baby. Styles make fights. Number 28, we have Miami of Ohio. He did not move either. 2-6, 1-5 in conference play. This is one of those guys. I don't know off the top of my head his player stats, but I do know that he was kind of wide receiver by committee when we first did the rankings. So I'd have to go look to see kind of how his losses have come since then. And why he's been losing. Like I said, we didn't put too much effort in looking at player stats and stuff like that. We kind of want to just focus on conference standings.
At 27, we have FIU, who's sitting at 2-5 and 1-4 in conference. He dropped down 3 spots.
Next up, we have Georgia State. This is the biggest talk of the rankings.
Yes.
He moved back 10 spots. He was number 16 last time we did this. So the first time we did our rankings, he was 2-1. He didn't have any conference games. I believe he played 1 user and 2 CPUs. I could be wrong, but I do know he was 2-1 overall, but he was the only user that didn't have any conference games. So he was definitely hard to rank. And obviously since then he is 0-4, 0-3 since doing the rankings.
0-3.
So I mean, moving back was kind of in the in the talks for him. It was kind of obvious, not winning a game since the last ranking. It's kind of hard to keep somebody up there. So hopefully he can kind of turn his season back around. I don't know what his record is now. Like I said, this is from 2 weeks ago.
At 25, we have UAB, who's sitting at 2-5 and 1-5 in conference. He moved up one spot.
Yeah,
He
Utah
does
State
not
says he's
want
not bottom
Texas
five.
State.
But yeah, UAB at 25 now. 24, we have Western Kentucky. Zachary McDowell, 3-5, 2-4. He moves up one spot, so he's number 25 last power ranking. So he does move up one spot. He's definitely one of those users that can compete with anyone, but he drops games he shouldn't. If I'm not mistaken, he should have beat Akron. He should have beat a CPU last week. I think he's dropped like 4 games where he had the lead with like 2 minutes to go in the game.
I think he was beating Eastern Michigan to the CPU, and he ended up dropping that game.
He should easily be like 6-2 right now. But obviously that comes with time, coaching experience. Hopefully he progresses and kind of builds his team up.
At 23, we have South Alabama. He's sitting at 4-5, and he's 3-3 in conference. He moved back 2 spots.
UAB, I believe that's UAB's coach, says, man, I played, I think, 4 of the top 10 users in the league. Tough season. Utah State probably isn't ready for Texas State. No. We were never losing. He's talking about the Zach game. Number 22, we have the iconic Kelvin Jackson here. My dad, Utah State, 4-3, 1-3 in conference. Moves up 5 spots. One of the biggest jumps in the power rankings. So he was at 27 before. If I'm not mistaken, he's 5-3 now with a matchup with in-conference rival San Jose State with a chance to go to 6-3, which would be big, being bowl eligible this early in the season. He had the big game against App State, 22, the disrespect. It's actually crazy. Me and Brandon had a 30-minute conversation about where you should be ranked.
To defend you, man.
And this is why we ended up – you are literally the reason why we ended up going to the averages, because I think I had you at 21, Brandon had you at 18, and I think Sterling had you at 24. So based on how it averaged out, you ended up at 22, if I'm not mistaken. You might have had him at 19. But I know averaged out.
You don't start a win streak until it's 3. I respected the win streak that he was on, and he came off a big win, so I was pretty high on him.
So you keep winning, you'll move up the next power rankings. Iconic, 22, the disrespect. It's all based off your resume, man. I think I have Memphis coming up, finishing out 6-6. Sterling, noted. You got him in a few weeks. Definitely, we were down 26-12. You should have lost. Moving on, this is all you, bro.
At number 21, we have James Madison. He is 3-3 and 2-2 in conference. He has a big win over myself. In overtime, I lost him by 3 points in overtime, and I think he gave up a fair sim to South Alabama. I'm a little bit more higher on this user, but I want to see him play a little bit more games because he only played 6 games so far, and I think we saw some people that had like 8 or 9 games. So
yeah, definitely. So this is again between like 22 and 16, 17 was kind of where we were back and forth about, because some people have 8 or 9 games played, some people have 5 or 6 games played. It's hard to knock James Madison because he should have had a forced win, but he ended up just saying, I understand life gets in the way, let's just fair sim, and he lost that game. Yeah. So he could easily be 4-2 right now, 3-1 in conference, or if it was a conference game or not. So I like him here at 21. At number 20, we have UTEP, 4-5 and 3-3 in conference. So this is another guy that me and Brandon went back and forth about. Reason being, I was higher on UTEP than he was, and his argument, and I don't know where Sterling had him, but his argument was he has 5 losses, but he has part of his 5 losses are to what you'll see now, 2 top 3 users, and he's played more games. And he also had the fair sim loss to FCS because he was on vacation for the first week, so that's one of his losses. So I respect being 3-3 in conference over someone who's below 500 in conference. So just because he's played more games, that's why I have him at 20. I agree, Justin. I personally value conference wins over anything because all of my out of conference games are CPU. So if you guys go back to the first rankings, I think I was 5 or 6-0, but I was only like 3-0 in conference, and somebody else had 5 wins in conference. So I had them above myself, and that was my rankings, just because I value conference wins over CPU wins. But moving on, you got 19.
Number 19, we have Middle Tennessee State. He's 4-4 and 2-3. He moved down 3 spots. This was somebody that I was really high on because he just come off two huge wins against Central Michigan and I believe it was Arkansas State. Two top 10 wins potentially. And so that was one of the reasons why I was high on him coming into this ranking.
I don't remember where I had him, but like I said, between 22 and 17 was definitely blurry. Mike Jones, Central Michigan says, Akron, I'm coming for you. So it's definitely hard to know where I had these guys. I have to go back and look, but 18, looking at these records, I'm supposed to be top 15. You are 1-3 in conference. So look at that record too. Should have beat Toledo, but let them get away with one. You too, Toledo. But yeah, Marshall 4-3 and 2-2 in conference. Again, very tough one to rank. He does move back 3 spots. I liked him here because he's above 500 and he's 500 in conference. He also lost to FCS, but he played that game. So that did knock him some because it wasn't a sim. He lost to FCS, which is obviously a really, really bad loss. He's not the only one to lose to FCS in this league. But yeah, at 18, he moves back 3 spots.
Yeah, at 17 we have UTSA. He is 4-3 and 2-2 in conference. I believe this is the second biggest drop. He moved down 10 spots. I believe in the
That's
first
tied.
one.
That's tied. Georgia
Tied,
State and
yeah.
him both moved 10 spots. 10 spots.
That's tied for the biggest one, and I think he was 4-0 in our first one, or 3-0 in our first one, and he lost 3 straight, so he ended up
Yeah,
moving
he's
down 10 spots.
definitely been losing. I believe he lost 3 straight. I think he was 4-0 and 2-0 in conference, and he lost 2 conference games and 1 out of conference game. So again, another tough one. I know 10 spots seems like a far way to drop, but again, when we do one power rankings and you're number 7 and you've lost 3 games straight, it's hard to keep you, above people who are on winning streaks or who are winning, especially in your conference. Moving on, number 16, we have Memphis, another first-time user to an online type of league. He does move up 1 spot, 3-3, 2-3 in conference. I do want to speak on Coach Morales though. I think he got ahead of himself. He might have beat USF. Did he beat
No, he
USF?
beat USF 22-21.
Yeah, he had a really big game, and then he immediately started saying like, I
See
will
in the
see you.
conference champion.
Yeah, I'll see you. As
Yeah.
like assuming I win out. And as soon as he said that, I knew. I was like, you are biting off more than you could chew.
Lost
But
the very next game.
yeah, but I mean, 3-3 being 500 in your very first league. I mean, I respect it. Like I said, you have one of the best wins in the league right now. So
Yes.
just try to get to bowl eligible. Try to get to a respectable bowl game. Keep going. Because obviously Memphis is one of the best programs in the group of 5.
At 15, we have North Texas. He is 4-3 and 2-1 in conference. He moves up 5 spots. I know we were all three might have been hot, big on this guy because I know
It's
I
actually
was.
crazy.
I think we
We
all had
all
him at
had
the same.
we all had him at 15.
Yeah,
So
and
moving up 5 spots. I don't know what his current winning streak is on right now. Matter of fact, what we'll do, just because I'm interested to see. So he just lost the game. So he would have been 4-3. So I don't know what his winning streak was. I'm assuming he
I
was
think
on a
I'm
winning
like
streak.
2 or 1.
Yeah, I'm assuming he had to have been winning a few games to move up this high though. But yeah, we have him at 15. At 14, we have Hawaii, 5-2, 2-2 in conference. Obviously, started off very, very hot in the first rankings. Was number 10. I believe he was 4-1, if I'm not mistaken, or 4-0 maybe.
3-1 or 4-1.
Yeah, something like that. He had the early loss to Utah. Wait a minute.
I think he might have been had 2 losses. I know he played you early, and I think he played Utah like
Because
week 1.
I'm thinking, did I might have got a I think I typoed this. I think he's supposed to be 5-3 and 2-3. I'm pretty sure because I don't think he played Sterling and me that recent. So it could be wrong,
And
but
he's 5-3. He hasn't played this week at all, and I think he was on a bye week last week. I could be wrong.
okay. So but 5-2, 2-2, 500 in conference. Obviously losing to the 2 tough teams. I think this I'm excited for the Fresno State Hawaii matchup. That's going to decide obviously who comes in 3rd place in the Mountain West, I think. But that's going to be a really good game. And I think they play this week, as a matter of fact. I think they're supposed to play here in the next hour or so.
Play tonight at like 10.
Yes, that's going to be a good game.
At number 13, myself, 4-2 and 2-2 in conference. I moved up 5 spots. I think I'm on the second highest win streak right now with 5 wins. That might be the most in the league behind Boise State. I started off really slow, and I'm starting to pick it back up. I'm winning 5 straight right now.
Yeah. Who do you have this week?
I played my game already. I think I played Kennesaw State CPU. I don't play my
Okay.
next user game until week 12 or so.
And who's that against?
Georgia State.
What I'm genuinely confused at how you don't see how he should be here.
Yeah, I'm on the second biggest win streak. I'm 5 game winning streak. 6-2, which I'm 4-2 right now on this one, but 4-2. I came off a win against Arkansas State, who was I think number 2 or 3 in the last power rankings. I have good wins and I have some bad losses.
You said
I lost
committee
both my
bias.
games by 3 points.
But moving on, number 12, we have Fresno State here, moved up 2 spots. Dev Rufus, 5-2, 2-2 in conference. Like I said, I think his resume was one of the harder ones to rank on these rankings because his 2 losses come to 2 top 5 teams. So I mean, he's been perfect ever since playing those 2 top 5 teams. So we'll see how he looks against Hawaii this week.
At number 11, we have ECU. He didn't move at all. He's 6-2, 3-2 in conference. I'm assuming we might have had him at the same spot too, huh?
I don't remember. I know it was between 9 and 12, right around there.
Yeah.
But he
I
didn't
had
move at
him at
all.
11, so
I mean, I think the reason why he didn't move is there's, between the 7 and 12 range, a lot of teams kind of kept on pace.
yeah.
So it's, or people who were in the top 3 bounce back. So kind of hard to judge those. But number 10, we have App State. He moves back 1 spot. Obviously had that loss to Utah State. I don't
Yeah.
know if was it in these rankings though? It was, right?
No.
How many losses App State have right now? I think it only has 2 losses.
Yeah, it has 2 losses, but
So it had to have been right after the Utah State loss
yeah.
to him. So he moves back 1 spot. I still think, like I said, he's in position to win his conference, being that he's 3-1 in conference. I think he's actually 4-2 in conference right now, though, or
He's
3-2,
4-1 in conference.
4-1 in conference.
7-2, 7-2, 4-1 right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, so here's my question, because you guys are gonna start to notice my dad loves to like stir the pot and where I don't understand how you believe you should be higher if you are 1-3 in conference. If someone is you, even though you beat App State, he's 3-1 in conference. So it's a push and a pull. If we were just going off of strictly head to head, we'd be all over the place because we have people losing games they shouldn't lose and stuff like that. So he just trying to stir the pot though. That's just how my dad is. That's what he does. Go ahead.
At number 9, we have Tulane. He's sitting at 5-2, 2-2 in conference. He moved up 4 spots, cracking that top 10 spot. I know he asked where he would be at. He's in the top 10. He's sitting at number 9. I think he's on a 4 or 5 game winning streak too. He is setting himself up to play for a American championship for sure. It's a very
No,
big surprise to me, but he's sitting here.
no, definitely. I mean, I think Tulane at 5-2, 2-2 in conference as of week 8, obviously moved up 4 spots. If we were doing the power rankings, this week, he'd be a lot higher than what he is now because he has a lot better record right now. But I like him at 9. I think Trey's doing a
He's
really
the
good job with
only
them.
behind you. He's the only one that's ranked. And
Yeah, so he's ranked 24, right?
yeah, 24.
Number 8, we have Liberty. We have BCS Grundy here, 5-2, 3-2 in conference.
FCS Grundy.
He started off really shaky though, but I think he's kind of silenced the doubters a bit, moving up 4 spots from 12 to 8. He another guy in position to, if the dominoes fall correctly, get into a conference championship game. But I mean, he's in a position to win 10 games this year, and that's all you can really ask. Put himself in a position to get a better job offer if that's what he chooses to do. So 5-2 for Grundy is not a bad spot.
Yeah. At number 7, we have Arkansas State at 6-2, and he's 5-1 in conference. He leads the Sun Belt right now. It looks like he's gonna punch his ticket in, but he moved down 5 spots. I think he lost his last 2 games, so he dropped down 5 spots.
Yes, so he lost to you,
Yes.
and then he tried to play his next game. His connection wasn't good enough, so he had to give away a loss. So according to these rankings, he was coming off of 2 losses, so he did drop from the second best team to the 7th based on our rankings. Number 6, we have Central Michigan, 5-2, 3-2 in conference. He moves up from 8 to 6. I think his team is humming right now. Another team poised to make a conference title run. I don't know if this was before or after the San Diego State win,
Uh,
Um,
it was after I think the San Diego State win is in this.
okay, yeah, so definitely a big win, knocking off an undefeated team at that point. So shout out to Central Michigan.
Yeah. At number 5, we have Akron. He moved down 4 spots. He was our number 1 ranked team. At the very first rankings, he's sitting at 6-2, and he's 5-1 in conference. He lost to Notre Dame, and I believe he lost to Liberty. A big loss to Liberty. I think Liberty won by like 30 points or so.
Yeah,
He moves down 5 spots. He still pretty much locked his way into the conference championship game, but he's got to turn it around. He's on a bye week right now, so that's enough time for him to lock in.
I got you with another picture next week, Mike. I just put this together last time and it was just quick, so that's the way I did it. Yeah, I mean Akron, obviously he had to give away he was busy this weekend, so he said that Liberty game got ugly for sure. He gave away the fair sim loss to NC State last week, which knocked him to 6-3. But again, controls his own destiny in his own conference, which is all you can ask for.
Yeah.
When you're trying to win your conference, you want to win conference championships when you want to be a championship team. So although he moved from 1-5, he's still in a position to kind of control his own destiny. Number 4, we have USF 7-1, who is now actually 8-1, 6-1 in conference. He has officially locked himself into the American title game. Moves up from 6-4. Massive game. I think next week or the week after that against San Diego State. San Diego State could really play spoiler for him for playoff, playoff type of contention. Or USF with a win over San Diego State could, bump him into the top 25. If you guys go look at the top 25 and press triangle, USF is receiving votes. So if USF continues to win, he'll be ranked in the top 25 if he holds pace. So really good season for him so far.
At number 3, we have San Diego State, 6-1 and 4-0 in conference. He moved up 1 spot. I think he just lost again to you, so he's 4-1 in conference now. But yeah, I mean he still has an opportunity to control his own destiny too. I believe if he wins the Mountain West, I think he'll get that spot. I think there's too much going on in the other conferences. But besides the American, because I feel like the committee, the CPU committee, they have too much hope on the American Conference right now. They're the only ones that are receiving votes. They have a 5-2 Tulane already in the top 25. So I feel like with the two conferences, it's the Mountain West and the American. So I feel like at the end of the season, it's going to come down to one of those two conferences getting that last bid. So
Yeah,
he
and
still controls his own destiny.
that's why I think this San Diego State versus USF game is massive. Because if San Diego State is able to beat USF, and then he's able to beat me in the conference championship game, he'll be an 11-2 conference champion, and that means every other conference champion would have 2 losses as well. So at
Right.
that point, it's just comparing resumes, and I think San Diego State would get in at that point. So I think
Yeah.
same thing for USF. If USF is able to beat San Diego State, and then San Diego State beats me, then USF gets in. So it's definitely like a lot of mix up and kind of bumper cars when it comes to who's going to get that playoff spot. At the end of the day, all the top guys in each conference are battling for that spot. So definitely excited to see that. Number 2, we have Toledo. We have Duck Van Dane here. 6-1. I think he's 7-1 now, though. Perfect in conference. He has a massive game coming up with Akron. Akron has something to prove coming off a 3-game losing streak. He wants to kind of put his foot down, win the conference there, ruin Toledo's hopes for a playoff spot. That's a team we haven't been talking about as well. So he moves up from 5-2. Dane definitely surprising people. He's gonna be like, "Why is it a
Yes.
surprise?" I know how he is.
Yeah, he surprised me for sure. Every time he gets a win, I'm like, he's sitting at this record now. I was like, I'm not expecting him to be here, but he's here, and I respect it.
No, but definitely, but he's number 2.
At number 1, we have Boise State at 8-0, 4-0 in conference.
I
Moved up
wait for
two
Kelvin
spots.
Jackson to come say something crazy. He's
Yeah,
gonna say
number
something.
1 team. Right now, it's looking like you finna be the only one that gets a chance to win the national championship. Tired of the disrespect. 2 is very respectful, so I'll give you
Yeah.
that.
I mean, yeah, I like what I've built so far in Boise. I don't plan on being here very long, but I got to get through San Diego one more time. Mike Jones says he got San Diego with the upset. I don't personally think if Sterling beats me, I don't consider an upset. Everybody in here is going to consider an upset. I don't think it will be an upset personally, but I'm excited to see who gets that last playoff spot at the 12th spot. But it's been very successful so far this season. Obviously, Mike Jones said Boise is lucky he doesn't have to play me. We'll see, man. You guys see me in a bowl game now. You better be careful now. But I'm very excited to see kind of how the league unfolds over the next month and a half, 2 months. We obviously have Temple that is going to be open now. We're going to fill that spot. Not to say he has to take Temple because we're going to conference realign every offseason. Let us know in the comment section before we end this live how many of you guys are going to stay with your teams. Here we go. How many of you guys are going to stay with your teams?
I
And how many?
I hope I play you in a bowl game. I think it's got me matched up against Toledo right now, but you see how Steven treated you in that game. It's gonna be worse when I see you. It's gonna be personal.
Let me know if you guys are planning on staying. I personally just want to leave immediately. But our plan, Utah State for life. He said, I'm home. We just bought a house. I respect it. Our plan is to realign based on needs. So let's say hypothetically, I'm not saying this will happen. Let's say Fresno State, Hawaii, Boise State, and SDSU all leave the Mountain West. Then we're going to figure out a way to move more teams into the Mountain West to kind of balance it out. Just so that works. We're going to do our best to not realign the Power 4 conferences. But obviously, if one person goes to the Big Ten and 4 people go to the SEC, we're going to have to try to figure something out. So kind of bear with us when it comes to the offseason. The offseason might take a couple of days to kind of – that is a crazy statement. The offseason might take a couple of days for us to figure out how we're going to do it. So please bear with us. We've got to week 10 in 2 weeks, 3 or 4 24-hour advances. This week, if I'm not mistaken, there's like 13 or 14 CPU games. So if you haven't played your CPU game, please go knock it out.
Like 4 or 5 left.
Yeah, if we can get to the next week, I'm saying unless I get an offer that blows me away. If we can get to the next week by tomorrow night, that's best case scenario. Hopefully we can plan it to where the off season is over the weekend. Kelvin, you got the military beat out you by your son. Y'all crazy. If we can somehow get to the off season by Labor Day weekend, which is next weekend, then we'll be in good shape. Now that's asking a lot, given that's 5 weeks or 6 weeks, 7 weeks in a 5-day period. But at the end of the day, it's all up to you guys. If everybody is kind of punctual, just playing their game immediately, especially CPU games, you don't have to schedule with anybody, guys. You just get on and play against the CPU. I know, playing with other users, it's hard to match up times, but we have a 3-day weekend next weekend. So hopefully we can get to the off season by next weekend, because I'm assuming 80 to 90% of the people in here are going to have Labor Day off. So it'll be easier to kind of coordinate transfer portal and stuff like that on that Monday.
How many games do we have left? Like 4?
So I have my PS5 right here. So let's take a look, guys. So right now we have, in the American Conference, we have 3 games left. Memphis UTSA is a user versus user matchup. And 2 games left. I'm sorry, because Temple and BYU are CPU. So we have 2 games left in the American. We have 2 games left, both CPU games in the Conference USA. Mountain West has
4
2
games left.
Mountain West has 2, and the Sun Belt has 2. So we have about 8 games left. But although there's 8 games left, I believe only 3 of them are CPU or are user versus user. Dane said he's playing after this. So hopefully people can knock their games out. If we can advance by tomorrow night, then we're on pace to get there by Labor Day. Because I think
we have 4 weeks left. If we can advance tomorrow, we should
also
be
conference championship week though. But the good thing about us being group of 5s is that only one of us are going to get in the playoffs. So hopefully whoever gets in the playoffs just plays all of the playoffs in that one day, so we could just fly through it. Obviously, bowl games will still need to be played. I don't have mine scheduled yet. Gotcha. But hopefully, we get through. I know personally I have like 3 bye weeks back to back to back. So I only have 2 games left in the regular season, and now I'm done. So hopefully people, get these games done quick, because what we'd like to do, like I said, is do the off season on the weekend. But if it lands on a Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to have to do it on Wednesday or Thursday. We're not going to delay the league 5 days to cater for 10 people. So hopefully, we have the time done. We normally come up with the off season schedule like 2 days in advance, so no one's, blindsided, or they say I didn't have time to do this or that. We're going to come up and we're going to make sure everybody has ample time to do things. But again, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for being transparent, being cooperative. So that way, we can get the league going. Really good activity. We still need to start doing press conferences and stuff like that. Obviously, we took a back seat for them during the year, but as the games, or as the season are starting to end, like my season ends in the next 2 weeks, so I'll probably do my press conference or my interview immediately. But those other people who are, done in week 13 or week 14, I'm going to start reaching out to you guys to do your guys' interviews, especially people who didn't get to a bowl game, because at that point, your season, not trying to be disrespectful, your season's over though. So it's like you can speak on your entirety of the season, what you want to do for the offseason. Obviously, if somebody still has to play in the conference championship game, it's hard to have them reflect on their season when they still have games to be played. So just be on the lookout for that, because we're going to be doing the interviews. I want to beat Texas State. That next year Harlow has to coach your FCS team. So if you guys don't play this year, I'm going to make it a concerning effort. I'm going to match y'all up next year. This year,
I might, since you decided that you want to stay at, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm not moving. I move up. I don't move over. So I'm not going to go to the Mountain West just to beat up on you. But I might stay at Texas State next year. But my foot's been out the door already. I want to go to a Power 4 team, but I'm not going to move over just to beat up on you. And I don't think that you should be on my schedule if I move up to the Power 4, because then it'll really be brutal.
I'm very excited to see kind of who gets offers, because we did a lot of simulations, like 10 to 15 simulations, and almost every time in year one we weren't getting offers.
Yeah. Even whenever we was playing.
But then again, though, there was only 4 or 5 of us. So because there's 32 of us that are taking lower teams, that's less offers that we're going to get.
We'll see.
What are you talking crazy, huh?
Yeah,
You said you got to see him at Waffle House, boy.
Yeah, I cannot wait to play him. I did lose 2 games. I lost by 3 in overtime. I lost by walk-off field goal. But I've lost both my games by a total of 6 points. I'm on a 5-game winning streak. So it's not like I'm a top 30 team. Like, you mistreat me like I'm a bottom of the barrel guy.
So this will be the last power rankings we do for the season, just because it's getting to a point now where teams are starting to get ranked. Everything's starting to get decided. So our opinions on teams don't really matter if the game is going to do it for us, the college football playoff bracket. So what we've decided is at least every Sunday, we're going to do this type of live. We may do it every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Sunday, every Thursday, depending on Brandon's work schedule. But we're going to do the next live we do is going to be the bowl matchups. So hopefully we get to bowl week by next weekend, so we can go through bowl matchups. And then we'll also talk about recruiting classes, because by that point, the recruiting classes should be settled before transfer portal. So we'll talk about the recruiting classes. We'll talk about bowl matchups.
Like more than 3 or 4 players so far? Because they should have started signing by.
You being disrespectful or what?
No, I'm for real. I only have 2 players, and we're in.
I'm pretty.
11.
Coming into this week, I didn't have like anything signed, but I signed like 7 players. So I have the best recruiting class out of all of us now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm number 16.
I only have like 2 players. I'm in first place for like 18 guys, but I mean they should.
I have 4 4-stars and 5 3-stars right now. Then I'm number 16. The next user is App State. He has 8 3-stars, and then Utah State has 2 4-stars and 5 3-stars. So obviously, like I know Sterling he's in the first place for like 20 people. So eventually, there's all going to sign at once. Then he's going to jump up 100 spots. So that's going to be something fun to talk about in the next live. But I think the bowl matchups are very critical to go over, because although some of us can't play for conference championships, bowl matchups are still fun to be able to beat another user in a bowl game. This dude is an idiot, man. But yeah, just to kind of talk about bowl matchups. He said, I'm in first place for like 30 guys, but I only have like 3 commits. Yeah, see, so like Dane's going to get a bunch of people to sign at once.
Yeah, I have like 18 first place for me right now.
Yeah, I only had 14 people on my board. So you guys are probably going to jump me eventually. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Another live show, 45-minute live show. Before you guys leave, if you haven't already, do my dad, Utah State, the guy who thinks he should be higher, do my dad and myself a favor. Go over to our college football podcast channel. I will drop the link in the Discord. I'm offering everyone with Texas State number 1. You're an idiot. He's talking about recruits. Go to our podcast channel.
They're going to lock you out immediately.
Make sure you guys subscribe. As college football season gets underway, we're going to start really hammering, covering college football. And obviously, we found a lot of you guys that we didn't know previously through the college football group. So I'm assuming you guys are college football fans. We just hit 1,100 subscribers on there, so it's been fun. We go live every week to talk about college football and the college football season. So check that out. We're going to continue to post content on this channel for our league. 80-0 Texas State beats Utah State. Dang, Dan. That's crazy. Shit. But thank you guys so much.
Let's play for $50 right now in front of the whole league.
That's crazy. I was rooting for you, Dane. But it's been fun. We will see you guys next week at the live. We may post a coach interview sometime in between, or maybe a press conference of some sort. But thank you guys again for being so cooperative. Those of you guys who have been with us since Madden, we appreciate you guys for being so willing to kind of interact, because this is not something we normally do. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys at the next stream or in the Discord. Peace out, everybody.